Hey guys, another week, another game dev vlog, and it's been a little longer since my previous one than I intended. I skipped last week's because I was in the middle of the game jam, and then this one was delayed a little bit because over the weekend I was feeling a little weirdly sick and all that, but I'm feeling mostly better now, so got a lot of stuff to cover. Before the game jam, I was mostly working on stuff to do with the Everybody Edit server. I'm definitely making good progress with that. Everything's looking good, coming up with good structures for running the code, make sure everything's efficient and very flexible, and it seems to be working. Anyway, I was also thinking about stuff to do with the client and how I'm coding that. As you may know, I've been using Hakes, or Hacks, however you want to pronounce it. It's a programming language, and basically it's designed to compile to various platforms, including JavaScript. And it generally does the job pretty well, but there are certain quirks and certain limitations that do come due to the nature of the fact that it's not JavaScript that you're working with. Which brings me back to the decision of, like, do I work with actual JavaScript, or rather TypeScript most likely, or do I continue with Hakes? I did a test with trying to make an actual project and get that actually working, and I finally made something that actually works. So I think I'm going to actually continue with experimenting with that this week. As much of a hassle as it would be, and as much time as it would take to learn a new platform, not that it's completely new, it's very similar to things I've worked with in the past, it might be worth it, honestly. Especially when we think about the fact that this game could go on for a decade or two. Is Hakes going to be a viable platform in that time? I don't know. So, anyway, I guess right now, I'm going to cut to the stuff that I recorded during LDJAM. It is 9:38 on Saturday the 11th, and the LDJAM Game Jam is officially on. The theme of this game jam is running out of space, and for a little while I was having troubles coming up with any ideas for a game that I want to make, but I actually figured out something. My interpretation of the theme is going to be an overpopulated dystopian world where there's not enough room for everybody, so people are offloaded into this virtual reality, the paradise. Today, the plan is going to be to get all the gameplay mechanics in, to figure out the art style, and to make the whole beginning of the game. It's a lot to do, but this first day is always crucial in a game jam. The more I can get done today, the less I can have to do tomorrow, and the more polish I can afford to put in on the third day. Okay, it's now 1:15 in the afternoon, and I'm at the point where I have some concept art, and I have the project set up, but I have not really started adding any gameplay. So that's what I'm going to start doing now. I'm going to get the player in, I'm going to get where you can walk back and forth, and I guess swapping between levels. Alright, well, it's almost 6 o'clock, and I finally have walking around. The animation took quite a while. I'm not great at doing animation, so it just takes me a while. I need to get the other gameplay elements done. Well, it's actually Sunday evening now. It is going on 9 o'clock, and I have not made as much progress today as I needed to. I'm gonna probably have to cut down some things in my game. Basically what I've got so far is some of the beginning of the story. I now have a system to stop the camera at the edges. There's a big space right here where there's no art, so I'll still need to add that stuff in. But I do have this area done, and most of this is looking alright, although there's a lot of concept art here as well. And that's where the next part of the story is going to start. But the thing is, that is only about halfway through the story, if that. And we're nearing the end of the second day. So hopefully I can catch up a bit tonight, and then tomorrow there's going to be a lot of work to do as well. Because there's no sound, no music, art is obviously missing a lot of stuff. There's just a lot to do. I did get some stuff done last night. I made a little more progress on the story, and I definitely figured out some things. I've had to shorten the story a little bit from what I was initially intending, but I still want to hit all the major points. Yeah, we'll see where this goes, but this is the last day. Well, I got my game out last night. By about 5:15, I had everything to do with the main gameplay done except for sound. I just took some royalty-free music that I had already on my computer. It fits well enough. And I definitely didn't have time to do my own stuff. I was wanting to do a lot more with sound in this game. I wanted the beginning of the game to be where it was raining outside, and you could hear that when you woke up. and when you step outside it's a little louder, and you could hear the crowds in the distance. But overall I am pretty happy with how it turned out. It's at least a finished game, and it seems like a full story. I highly recommend that you go check it out so you know what I'm talking about. The links are down in the description below. The game does touch on some darker themes, so just be warned about that. But overall, I think it has an uplifting ending, so it's definitely worth experiencing. Alright, so back to this weekend. Ludum Dare was definitely an interesting experience. I made an interesting game called Paradise Inc., and while it definitely has some very major plot holes, and it's definitely lacking in the areas of interaction and any sort of choice for the player, overall I am happy with what I was able to achieve within the 3 days. It was a lot of hard work, but I made a thing, and that's what Ludum Dare is all about. So, I still haven't gotten around to playing and rating other people's games, which is important in Ludum Dare. That's something I need to get on this week. I need to spend like an hour a day or so playing and rating other people's games. I just need to get that done, and it's going to be fun anyway, so it's playing games. So some of the other stuff I've been working on after Ludum Dare was also ordering a couple of products. I've actually ordered and received a 2T hard drive, which me and Alex are going to be sharing for backups and such of our work. We have an external enclosure for that, of course. And then I also have a 250 gig SSD. Basically, I'm going to be using that as my main drive on my laptop, and I'm going to be using my laptop's current hard drive as a secondary drive by using what's called a second drive caddy. It's where you adapt a laptop's optical drive bay for CDs and DVDs into a port for a hard drive or SSD. I still need to do some final research on which one to get. I think I'm going to be getting it off eBay, as well as the RAM upgrade. Overall, it's about upgrading my laptop to be a little bit better for the time being until I can actually get my full desktop build done. So over this weekend, as I was recovering, I was also doing some minor work on Rotate. I did a small update, I think maybe the final update. I just moved the invert rotation controls option to the top left corner so it's not in the way of the speedrun timer when that shows up, because that one made sense to be there. But at the same time, I was also making a version of the game for a place that actually requested a non-exclusive license of Rotate, and they agreed on $250. So that's one way that my games are going to be making money over time, just places that are interested in licensing a version for their site. So it was rather unexpected though, but it's definitely going to be a huge help going forward. Anyway, this week I plan to work on, well, as I said earlier, the stuff with experimenting with TypeScript a bit, see if that's the direction I'm going to go. I have a feeling it is. And then I also want to continue more work on the server and play and rate games for Ludum Dare. There's probably some minor stuff I want to do. Oh, I do want to get Paradise Inc., my Ludum Dare entry, onto Congregate. I suppose I might as well, because if I do, it at least has some sort of a chance to play somewhere in the monthly contest. But anyway, that is going to have to be it for today. As always, I do want to thank my contributors over on Patreon. It really is a huge help. There's a new patron over there that came from my Newground stuff. So if you want to check out my Patreon page for yourself, the link is down in the description below. But yeah, I'll see you around. Goodbye.